Sound is normal. Maybe it sounds normal.
Yeah, it should. We're recording now.
Cool. Sounds good to me.
You hear
so
yourself?
This is the show.
Yeah, this is...
I can hear myself.
Once again, just dealing with stupid bullshit.
We're going to clap at the beginning of every episode now.
Yeah, dude.
That's how all the podcasts do it.
To sync the audio.
Yeah.
Fuck it, it's natural.
We need a movie clapper.
A slate.
Mm-hmm. They're hard to find.
Dizzy Street, episode 16, take 1.
Most of them are just like fake ones that are junk, you know? Like, what do they call those?
Fake ones?
I guess just props, but
yeah,
they're like movie props more than anything than they are actual movie products or tools. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, not really.
Like, I mean, there's more of them that are fake than real. Like when we were doing Color Me Funny stuff and shorts, we looked into it like to get one, and it's just I mean, you can buy real ones, I guess, but it's not as common. Like everywhere you go to get something like that, you'd be able to find a fake one that's like a prop in a movie.
Okay.
I think I have a memory of that. It's been a while, but there was something funny about them.
We'll go with that. Why don't you move that mic a little bit closer to you?
Okay. How's that? I just don't want to breathe on it. I'm a little stuffy.
That's all right. You're good.
If you hear me breathing or whistling, tell me to readjust.
All right.
So we were talking about, was there anything this week we want
to? No, I mean, other than the fact that we missed last week just because of a friend's wedding. You weren't there, but I was. Yeah. That was about it.
I was at a wedding actually last week.
Was that the beach wedding?
Yes.
That was last week.
No, it was the week before.
The beach wedding, yeah.
Yeah, I forget.
That's all right. Hey, you're only human, Mike.
Yeah. Speaking of, I need a swig of this larceny.
Go ahead.
Get us started.
Oh, actually, that's so the wedding that I was in, I was the best man, and I didn't, because he paid for my tux. I was the only one in the party, and he paid for my tux. And I'm like, you know what? He's been my best friend since like 7th grade.
Yeah.
I need to get him a drink, and he's a bourbon and whiskey drinker, and I'm way out of my element with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had this larceny stuff before.
Yeah.
So I got him a bottle of it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good present.
I mean, I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it like doesn't burn like fucking old granddad or anything.
No, they make this old granddad, maybe 57. That's 57% or something like that. Yeah.
Dude, have you ever had wild turkey?
Yeah, that's gross.
I think we've talked about that.
I don't like wild turkey or Jack Daniels or anything that's very kind of honey hillbilly seeming.
Yeah.
Like there's something heavy about those that just I have no interest.
I actually don't mind Jack Daniels. If it's in like a Jack and Ginger or Jack and Coke.
What the fuck is the difference? Why does Jack Daniels taste so much like Jack Daniels and nothing like other whiskey? Do you agree?
It's the brewing process.
But I know,
it's the barrels.
What is that flavor?
Jack Daniels.
I know, but you know it's more distinct. Am I wrong? Jack Daniels has a smell.
Yeah.
I know the smell of Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And I don't know the differences between other whiskeys, but there is a distinct thing, and I could be wrong. Maybe it's when I see the label, it reminds me of a smell. Maybe it's only when I know it's Jack Daniels, but I think it's different. I've only had it like once. A couple times maybe, but I know the smell of it.
Anyway, let's get off of the...
Yeah, we're going to talk about Jack Daniels this whole episode.
Yeah.
We were talking about graduation.
Yeah.
Our graduation.
High school graduation.
Why did we bring... Oh, I remember because we talked about somebody
Yeah, the backstory's not important.
No, I do think it's worth mentioning because we went to we were going to tiptoe around that one. Yeah. We're talking about it, but here's why. It is funny because we graduated with a class that was... I mean, how many black people were in our class?
Maybe 4.
And we had more in our class than the average class.
Yeah.
We had this Ashley girl.
Are you doing names?
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not going to tell the story and associate. But
Okay.
but I'm just thinking off the top of my head. It's not worth. We had Zach, but even Zach and someone else, they're biracial. The person that we talked about and that Ashley girl, I think we're the only two people who were very much, black.
Very much
what? You know the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, Zach had a white dad. I mean, he's black, but and we were at the type of school where his name was Black Zach. Yeah. And that's just what we thought, that was so normal to call him that.
And I mean, as far as we knew, he didn't care.
I mean, I'm sure it has an effect. Yeah. But he didn't mind being associated. It was better than Fat Zach, which some people embrace too. Yeah. Like some people embrace. So,
dude, my nickname was Fat Cunt, and I wasn't even that fat.
Yeah.
And then, especially on lacrosse
that
teams.
Was your nickname.
Yeah. There was a whole song.
Coaches call you that.
Yeah, all the coaches did.
Yeah. So anyway, we graduated with this girl, and you were just describing how her family. Well, you can tell that part of it.
Yeah. So it was just like our normal graduation, and everybody, like when everybody's name was being called, it was just quiet and like polite claps. The whole crowd was clapping. And then when her name was called, her family fucking popped off.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me of something I was thinking about recently. And I guess I was thinking about things that I thought were funny, but it's kind of too offensive to like really tackle it too much mentally.
Well, isn't this the appropriate place to say
yes. Because I have an update on one. And it all ties in, but a little side note with it. God, what the hell was I going to go with this on this part of it? Because I know the one part of the graduation. I was thinking about thinking about things that are like racist, but like so anecdotal that like you just kind of accept it, and things that aren't necessarily good or bad, but very distinctly cultural.
Wouldn't that just be a stereotype?
Well, I know, but check it out.
Okay.
This is an example.
All right, I'm listening.
I got a couple for black people that always kind of like, it makes me chuckle when I see it, and it is heartwarming in a way. Like, it's not bad. Bowling alleys, every time I'm at a bowling alley, dude, the black family has 20 times more fun than every other lane. They go ballistic, dude.
Yeah.
They are into it. They're like jiving and high-fiving. They celebrate in a way that no normal white family could pull off.
Which is weird because bowling is stereotypically a white sport.
Yeah, it makes sense it makes sense if you've developed some stereotypes. No, there's a cultural difference in a way, or anecdotally, and it's not that harmful to think that the black family might be a little bit more outgoing and having fun at the bowling alley. Is it racist? Yeah. But is it harmful? I don't know. And I hope people will cut me some slack for...
Is what harmful? Your observation?
No, the notion of being racist in that way.
No,
if it is racist...
I don't think it's...
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, that is... yes, it definitely is in a way.
Yeah,
but I was thinking of things like that. And... I think about like the Asian people I've met over the years, and the ways that they're disciplined in certain ways, or have this sort of like strong sense of duty. And I think about all these things, but the black families and celebrations was something I was just considering recently. And the other thing I notice is every time there's a dude at the convenience store and he's singing out loud, and he's into his music and he's got his headphones in, it's always like a black dude. Oh, they sing everywhere. They're always singing, man.
It's funny you say that, because my observation of that is, if you're driving down the street and you see a black person walking down the street, they've got headphones on, they are fucking rapping or singing and just getting into
life is a music video.
Yeah. Yeah, dude,
they're
fucking
into
armed. They are going. You probably shouldn't say that. Well, yeah, they.
That well, what? Yeah.
It's
Dude.
yeah.
They take
know,
over.
I don't know how to like tread lightly on that, but
No, well,
because you can see a nerdy white dude walking down the street with headphones on, and he's not doing shit
unless he's gay.
Yeah.
Maybe like a gay guy. I mean, you're right. I mean, a normal, I couldn't pull it off. Like there's another thing about that's cultural is just the dress code. Like when I see an Indian man and I'm looking at his jewelry, like a guy from India, and I see like the shit he's got on and like the style and the watch I couldn't wear that. I don't think guys like me would ever do that. And I think that about black guys.
Oh, dude.
I'm like, how could I pull off black clothing?
Actually, dude, it's funny you say that too.
I would be so ridiculous.
I was at GBMC on Tuesday. I don't know, whatever the 15th was. I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
And there was this black dude. He walked in. He was wearing like a navy and red hat. I couldn't see what sports team it was, but it was like flat brim forward. He was wearing just a crisp navy blue hoodie.
Yeah. A Crips navy blue hoodie.
Yeah, Crips.
Yeah.
And he was wearing just like clean ass blue jeans and just like he's just wearing clean ass navy like Under Armour sneakers.
was his ass clean? I'm sorry.
No, you know what I mean by clean.
I know.
So like I saw this dude and I'm like, God damn, black dudes can dress cool. Like this dude just looked cool. And then he turned around and him and I had the exact same hoodie on.
Really?
And it gave me like a sense of peace inside.
You were like, this is a cool hoodie.
Well, it was my work hoodie, but
what hoodie was it?
It's just that blue Under Armour hoodie.
Oh.
And I was like, damn, that guy looks slick. Like he just looked cool. Was just wearing cool clothing.
Yeah. Now imagine if I was just sitting here and I'm just me and I talk the way I talk and I just look the way I look, but I'm in like a flat brimmed sports hat and it's like got like a sit about it. It's not on tight. It's not on snug. It's just kind of resting, dude. It's real. The hat's even chill. I mean, the way I wear my hat is like got swagger, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm wearing this bright fucking basketball sweatshirt. Like, let's just say I'm really into the Supersonics. That shit's green, okay? I got my Air Jordans on. Brand fucking new, dude.
Air Force Ones?
Oh, yeah. They're expensive.
Yeah.
They're limited editions.
Nice.
Yeah. There's some...
okay, I see it. I see it.
Yeah, so they're my Sean Kemp's. His line of that. So I got my pants, designer jeans with a little bit of a rip in them, like
just
faded.
A little mixed, little rasped up.
Yeah, and I got my pants rolled up just a little bit. I think that's not cool anymore, is it? If you do it right.
I cuff my jeans.
Okay, I'm cuffing my jeans.
Yeah, you got your jeans cuffed a little bit.
Okay, I got a chain.
Yeah.
I got a diamond in the ear.
Yeah.
And I'm chill. I got my glasses on. I got my shades.
Yeah.
Or just my styles. Like just
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So,
what else
and imagine
you got?
if I just spit the shit I spit, but that's the way I was dressed.
You'd look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah. But if I was black, it would be cool. It would make sense.
No, man.
I mean, maybe not the diamonds and but no, they can pull it off better.
Black dudes are so much better at being cool than white guys.
I know, but that look, that's a walk in the park for an intelligible, attractive black guy. I mean, anybody like that you can pull that off and it doesn't knock you down a notch.
No,
that's normal. So I was just thinking of things like that, which ties us back into graduation.
Yeah, let's go.
The 10-minute aside. Oh, yeah. So I was thinking of this when you brought up graduation and you brought up how every reaction was a normal little clap. And it reminded me of a running theme. Do you remember the most electric moment of our graduation?
The beach ball?
No, what was that?
Adam Weintraub blew up a beach ball. Oh.
No, dude. There was a way more there was a magical moment in that room.
Well,
the oldest kid in our class I didn't even know he was in my class.
Matt Loico?
Yes.
Yeah.
How magical was that moment?
Yeah,
dude. Matt
yeah.
Loico. He's like 27.
I think at that time he was like 21.
He had been in high school a while.
Yeah.
And he was special needs.
Yeah.
And he had Down syndrome, which I've been talking about is
dude.
like a vessel for magic.
When he
humor, heartwarming.
When he put his hands above his head with his diploma in his hands,
the crowd erupted.
Yeah.
Didn't he like throw his hat? Didn't he throw his hat in the air? Or in the audience or something? It was crazy.
You probably have a better memory of it than I do.
I think I could just have like a Rudy moment in my head, but I remember him throwing his hat.
Dude, he may have. But
maybe somebody else threw their hat. But I have my memory. He at least fist bumped and like he went and the place erupted. And I remember it was something that was like, if it was anyone else, it probably would have been like obviously frowned upon. So it was like, that's why I thought he threw his hat. I thought he did something that was a little edgy and like so adorable though.
No, that was a good moment.
I can remember like I said, I can't remember it exactly the way it looked, but I remember it felt like strongly like that everyone erupted.
Even being a shithead teenager, you saw that and like gave you chills.
Yes.
That was such a moment of pure joy.
Yes, and
he had an arena of people. There were probably 2,000 people there.
I have no idea. I can barely remember too many things about graduation, but I know that.
Yeah.
And I was surprised because I didn't know he was graduating with us. I didn't know that was going to be a thing. And you just saw him at the school, but I know he wasn't in our middle school class.
I went to elementary school with him.
Really?
He went to my daycare.
He's not older than us?
I think he is, but just because of the disability.
He just started later.
Yeah.
When we were in 6th grade, he was not in 6th grade. Like it was not his first year in middle school. Right?
I don't, like I said, dude, he went to my daycare.
Okay.
He went to my elementary school. So
that was just probably the high school rumor was that he was like 28, like they were just like, how old is this guy? He's just been coming in here. He was such a joy to the school.
Oh my God.
Out of all of the kids with special needs, and this is sad, but it's true. All of them but him got bullied. I'm not saying nobody ever picked on him because I'm sure there was a moment where somebody stooped to that level. I saw bullying of almost every kid that was at least kind of social that had special needs. Like I saw like at least a handful of kids get bullied in a way.
Dude, I don't think he ever did.
I don't think he did.
Because
Down syndrome can be something that is that's why if you don't know, if you haven't listened to the episodes, there have been multiple times where I've brought up how powerful and how untapped, like capturing that beautifully everything that it can be that is wrapped up in somebody that has Down syndrome that we kind of are like socially you can't really touch. It is a genie bottle that is dusty. Somebody just needs to rub that motherfucker and they're going to have the best documentary that has ever been made.
That's a
strange
analogy.
Or the most popular 5-minute blooper reel on YouTube ever. No.
Dude, why'd you have to say the second part?
I don't know.
You were going so well, dude.
I don't know what market or avenue there. Hey, at least there's options. There's a million different ways it could go. It could go from great to the scummy.
I will say this in terms of Matt. I hung out with some people who could have been, or not could have been, who were bullies, but they bullied the kids that kind of deserved it.
Yes.
Like slap books out of kids who were just assholes.
Yes.
They were like the nerdy assholes, and they did deserve it. But when Matt walked out...
Well, okay. So I can say what I can say, but you're going to say those kids deserved it? Oh, so I can't... I get it. I get the double standard here. No, they definitely took more than they deserved.
Yeah, that's true. That
Sometimes
is
they got
true.
like it became a running thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying those kids didn't need adjustment at times because their attitude was of a way that you got to correct.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of bullying sometimes
is good.
There can be a healthy style of
Yeah.
it, but I would say more times than not, it was just more kind of just bad.
Yeah. And then, but anyway, when Matt was walking down the hallway, it was like
High
high
fives,
fives
dude.
for everybody, man.
Them motherfuckers would be slapping books. It's like
Slapping
that
hands.
scene in Half Baked where it's like fuck you, you're cool, fuck you. Like Matt Loico was the
Yeah.
you're cool of that group. And I'm saying his whole name. It's okay. It was heartwarming. It was cool to be around because the thing that makes me see this and recognize this and ponder it and the differences, even like the cultural differences, is because I'm very fascinated by like different ways of existing, different ways of thinking. Like animals make me curious. Like, I'm so curious, even just the differences in dog breeds and that nuance is so fascinating to me. And certain things, especially humanistic animal emotions and characteristics, like very on a human level, I'm definitely very fascinated by different eccentric ways of thinking. Like when I meet somebody who's autistic or on the spectrum or something, I'm very fascinated by what is like where they're like strongly sensed, like how do they view stuff? How do they think? Or even just different people in general, just eccentric minds. And it definitely fascinates me on that level. When I would see Matt Loico as a kid, I would just wonder what it was like to be him and to think the way he thinks. And I wondered how he thought, because even though he thought in a way that most would say is lower or slower in a sense.
But you really don't know, though.
Yeah, it's harder to put your finger on. You can't figure it out as easily as the average person.
It's on a different plane because like people with Down syndrome, maybe this is too general because I really don't know about.
It is so hard to talk about special education if you're not a professional.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing you can't talk about unless you're a pro.
And I'm really not being disparaging or like putting down in any way, but it's like there's high highs. So when they're happy, they're happy, and when they're fucking mad, they're fucking mad. Like there's I guess a better way to put it is there's no filter.
Oh yes.
The more PC way to say it is there's no filter. So it's like the happiness that people with Down syndrome experience is like the most unfiltered happiness that you could ever experience. And then
it's so much that no matter what it is, unless it's extremely tragic or traumatic, it's so inevitably like heartwarming to see that extreme level or that the open emotion or the open way they're opened up to something that is different.
Yeah.
In that it's inevitable when you're around it. You can't help but, at least I can't help but notice something that's distinctly unique to that way of thinking. Just like certain types of people are the only people that resonate in a certain way and you pick up on it. Like I pick up on something that is just so interesting and enjoyable around. I don't know. Yeah, we're good on Down syndrome talk for today. Tune in next week. Yeah, that should be the name of our show. We're good.
Yeah,
I don't even want to continue.
Don't even go there,
anything I say now is an extension of the segment. So cliffhanger.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in that case, tune in next week.
Yeah. Not 2 weeks. We're not going to talk about that every episode.
It hasn't been every episode. It's been like every other. Oh, shit. So is that it?
Yeah, on that note, we're done. All of our listeners have already turned off.
We lost the shit.
Just the regulars are here. They know what to expect.
All 10? 10? We're like 10 people? Maybe a little bit more?
No, more than that. Definitely more than that. 10 immediate people. When I post an episode, it gets 10 very, very, very fast. And then, it just slowly creeps its way up.
Cool.
And most of them are like 50 plus at this point.
50 years old.
Yeah. So,
what else you got, Mike?
Yeah, well, I can just take it and run with it if you want. No. I have, you know what? One thing that you said on an episode that I wanted to unpack at some point. Because I thought about it. No, it's not like a specific thing that's bad. But one time when you and Hunter were here.
Is it about the feet?
No, it's not about the feet.
Okay.
You don't want to talk about feet. You're like, I wasn't prepared for this. This is kind of creeping me out, actually.
I don't give a shit.
I got chills.
Go ahead.
No. Was that you said that I say a lot of outlandish things. And I thought about that because I'm like, I know I'm an extreme person.
You do. You make some very bold claims about stuff.
Yes, but I don't know, and this is where it would be interesting to see the difference, is I'm outlandish in a way. I don't know what the true definition would be, but I would say that it's a lot of misfires or a lot of extreme miscalculations when I call somebody outlandish, I think a bit more ridiculous or off the page, not just extreme.
Okay, I see where this is going. I see where you're coming from. I know what you're trying to do. The shit about the feet was outlandish.
Was outlandish?
That was an outlandish statement.
No.
Yes.
But we're not going to talk about that again.
Yeah, we won't go back
No.
to that. That was an outlandish
statement.
Well,
you framed it differently because you didn't understand that I was talking strictly about men who get regular pedicures and who don't have rough feet. I think there's a thing about it. I don't trust it. They're not rugged enough for me. I feel weird around. I'm a very guy's guy in a way, you know. Yeah. I just had a brother. I grew up, I have a lot of strong males around me. I don't know. I'm definitely a guy's guy in a lot of ways. And if you have sissy feet, if you have girly feet, if you have extremely done up, like I get work done on these, and you're old and you haven't ever worn your feet enough where they're a little rough, unless there's some genetic thing I don't realize that makes some feet get worse. But in jiu-jitsu, most people's feet who are men are rough.
Yeah.
The nails look weird. Everything gets weird for men. So a guy who has very, like, obviously almost like fake feet.
Yeah, we don't have to get back into that. We've already covered that.
But all I'm saying is
the initial statement that you made was outlandish because it was kind of implied that they were getting like plastic surgery done.
No. That's a misinterpretation that's miscommunication.
Well, no, that's not a misinterpretation. Yeah, miscommunication is a better way to.
So what? Right. So that doesn't mean that I'm outlandish. I misspoke. If you took it that way and it's what I said and not the way you interpreted it, which I guess I said they get work done on them. And you took it as plastic surgery. Well, in no part in my mind did I ever think that guys were getting plastic surgery on their feet. That's fucking insane.
I thought we clarified, and at work, not on the podcast. You went further to say that it was more than just pedicures.
0%. Well, and yeah, the fact that they haven't got their feet roughened up. Like the fact that their feet haven't got fucked up from walking around in their bare feet ever. And they or letting them go, I don't know.
Sissy
they wash
boys.
them too much.
Sissy
I don't know what the hell
never
they do.
walking around in bare feet.
I don't know what they're doing
pussies.
wrong, but when you're 50 plus and your feet aren't rough, you fucked up. You didn't live life enough.
When you're 50 plus and your feet have never touched gravel, you're a bitch.
Yeah. No, I don't know. But
but see, here's the thing.
I just wanted to clarify this because you'd say that you're a very rational, reasonable person. I'm just the realist. I'm like, I'd like to think of myself as a realist. I am a heightened verb, but do you think that you're distinctly more of a very realistic perspective? Like, is your vision more realistic? Is your reflection and memory more realistic? Like, are you able to analyze in a more realistic nature? Or what separates? Am I outlandish and off oftentimes to you?
You can't say that. I think we need to look up a definition of outlandish.
Well, okay, regardless, what do you mean by it? What would be the distinct things that you notice in that?
Just over the top. The rant that you went on a couple episodes ago about the choke, I would say that was an outlandish rant. Not that what you were saying wasn't justified, but you went overboard with that.
Oh,
that would be, I don't know.
So just extreme.
Yeah, yeah.
But so like it's not a thing that's assessing.
No,
how...
it's not that you're like over exaggerating and blowing things way out of proportion, which.
Well, no. I mean, I'm saying that's what it more is in your mind than actually being wrong or of poor judgment or off page.
No.
I just take it to a level that you wouldn't take it, or it's more extreme. Oh, I'm cool with that. I didn't know what outlandish meant. I was just curious, being that you think you're of a realistic perspective, do you think there are a lot of times that's what I was taking as outlandish. I was like, do you think I don't have a realistic view on reality?
No.
Okay.
No, not
because I would say I
think you're very fucking in tune with reality.
That's what I would think. That's the only reason it threw me off, because I consider things like that, and you know.
Well, I would say outlandish would kind of like is synonymous with extreme.
Yeah.
So you have an extreme perspective on things. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, by that, I would think of like asinine.
No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
That's the only reason that I considered that. I think I clicked on an episode or something and I heard that line and I thought about it. I'm like, I should bring that up on the episode.
No, that's good. I mean, that's conflict. That's what people want to hear. No,
conflict resolution.
Hey. No, that's not. I don't mean that you're like exaggerating and going crazy about shit. It's just you're going to the extreme with.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
That's
part
outlandish.
I'm cool with that part of me.
Just for fun, just look up what the definition of outlandish is, and we can see who is right or wrong, or maybe we can meet in the middle with it.
Yes,
because I think a lot of people would. Not necessarily agree, but could find some middle ground with you having an outlandish personality.
Okay. Number 1, looking or sounding bizarre or unfamiliar.
That's not you.
Number 2, foreign or alien. So it's not a heightened thing, but see, I get the slang definition that you're saying. I understand that. But it's
okay, so instead of saying outlandish,
freakishly or grotesquely strange or odd, as appearance, dress, objects, ideas, or practices, bizarre. See, that's what I was taking it as being way off, like just something, just an odd perspective, but I guess something like that does sound distinctly eccentric or odd.
Yeah.
So that does make sense for that statement, but it's not like me to say a lot of things that you can't connect the dots like that. No, that was particularly unlike me. That was a Kramer moment, and I'm not Kramer.
Fine, maybe I misspoke and I should have said bold.
Because, I don't say a lot of things that are that vague. I'm very detailed, and I explain things very specifically where most people are like, we get it. That was one that did not make sense in the way I phrased it, and still might be a bit peculiar or like off and outlandish for me. But I'm not very distinctly outlandish, right? Or by that
definition, no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bizarre, and my perspective and things I say.
Your thought process is actually very like literal and point by point, like very thought out.
Yeah.
You know where you're going with it. And it's not like you're just not pulling.
Bulletproof, baby. That's DNA. That's when I'm shit talking at the gym. Dude, I shit talk people at the gym. The one guy, I posted the video of me slamming the guy and saying, that's not a slam. Was that a slam? Talking to the ref in the match and the opponent. Did you see that video?
When did you post it?
I reposted it. Was a memories on Facebook. So I was in a competition 2 years ago, and a guy had me in his guard, and I picked up to defend an armbar, and he kind of lifted off the ground, maybe like barely. And I put him back down into the ground, and he was complaining to the ref, saying it was a slam, because you're not allowed to actually slam your opponents.
You can't pick people up.
You can pick them up. You kind of have to trip them down and control them to a degree, like high school wrestling. You're not actually able to like suplex a guy in most of the grappling tournaments I do. You can in some grappling matches. You can in MMA. So I've been suplexed before in a fight.
Yeah.
So
twice in one fight.
So I mean, it's not that I'm like anti-slam or something, but and slams are such a small part of the sport, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. It definitely changes the way you kind of hip into a takedown. But you can pick somebody up and control them to the ground pretty easily, and you're not going to get penalized.
Yeah.
And similarly, a guy can be going for a submission, and you can kind of defend a little and pick him up off the ground and put him back down, and it's not a slam. So anyway, it's a lot to just say this, but it is a funny moment, dude. So the guy...
Is it a little outlandish?
No. Well, it was extreme. I took it far because all he did was basically ask for a slam that wasn't a slam. But I was like, oh, come on. And I look at the ref and he didn't say anything. And I looked at him. I'm like, that's not a slam. I'm like, you think that's a slam? And I picked him up again and did it again. I was like, that's not a slam. And I'm looking at the ref. And then I look down at him, and then I say, I pick him up, and then I actually do slam him pretty good into the mat or push him down. And I was like, that was kind of a slam. Yeah. And the match ended. That match ended a little after that. Yeah, I said it lightly. You can't hear that. You can't hear that in the audio. But I said it to him, and the ref could probably hear me. The ref didn't seem to care. He barely even acted like he paid attention. But you can hear it in the audio. I said it so loud. And it was being filmed from far away.
Oh, shit.
Well, anyway, the one guy who we've been trying to get on said in there, bro, you be talking, like joking. And because there's this match, I'm talking shit in the gym. I talk shit the whole time.
Which one guy? There's a few guys we've been trying to get on.
The porn star guy.
Oh.
So he said I had been talking, as in like, I talk like, I'm always running my mouth. And it just kind of like brought it back to like the whole, I shit talk them, dude. And I'll like act like there's nothing they can do to phase me. And I will say like the fucking whatever
most
I want.
Outlandish shit in the world.
I love it. I love it at certain times, dude. So no, not literally the other outlandish, not outlandish, over the top, willing to take it far.
Take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Take it to the limit.
So enough about that. I am competing tomorrow, so maybe I'll update that next time.
Oh, yeah, that's the...
I'll have competed by the time you listen to this.
That's the grudge match.
He didn't...
Sign up?
He didn't officially... He signed up, but he didn't like
Pussy.
pay in time, and then he probably just didn't... He decided not to do it. But... Hey, Steve, don't call him a pussy. That's a bit outlandish.
That's outlandish. Don't be outlandish.
Anything going on this weekend for you?
No, actually, fucking, just making sure we're still recording.
You think we're not recording?
No, it's
the
recording.
GoPro or the sound?
No, Pro Tools. I think we're recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just confused on why it's not.
I thought of something I wanted to ask you.
What's that?
You were talking about graduation, and you said you were really hungover at graduation, which brought me something that has always fascinated me, because it boggles my mind that people are able to do it, because I've heard a lot of people tell stories, but I never had done anything like that as a kid. So you had already been drinking, obviously, well before you were like graduating.
Yeah.
Did you ever come to school drunk?
No.
Did you ever come to school stoned or anything?
No.
That's a really hard thing to imagine, right?
I knew my limitations. I knew because I had seen people come in with like Gatorade bottles full of liquor and shit.
Yeah.
And then not be able to stand up.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there like is there an initial that you can tell me? I'm curious because we graduated together.
Oh man, what the fuck was the one guy's name?
Somebody we graduated with?
Yeah.
And he would come to school with
he
alcohol.
He was like a year or two older than us. I mean,
We'll figure it out another time. With specifics.
I can't remember his fucking name. He played football. That's all I know. And he was like kind of a thug kid.
Okay.
Fuck. Name's not important.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But I remember him like...
We'll just call him Trey.
Yeah, Trey.
Is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think I know who you're talking
Dude,
about.
but that kid they used to call a narc.
Yeah, because the kid who ended up being the cheerleader.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a very fascinating thing.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, he was probably the most badass kid at her school, right?
Why?
He was a tough motherfucker. He was a great football player. He was like a tough running back. And he was very, very athletic, and he just looked manly.
God,
and
what was that guy's
he
name?
got into a fight from a guy I knew from Kinderdale who was like the toughest kid in that area, like was always fighting. And Trey beat the shit out of him at Rudders, like brutally. And that guy was just like the toughest kid at her school, was the best football player. And then all of a sudden he became a cheerleader instead of playing football.
Yeah, and he didn't finish school. He
eventually went to Kinderdale.
Oh.
Yeah, he finished school at Kid, but we thought he dropped out.
Narc.
Everyone at our school, it became a big rumor that he was a narc.
Mm-hmm.
And is that a thing?
I don't know.
Are there actually...
I feel like there's too many movies and too many shows made about that shit for it not to have happened at least 100 times.
Yeah, but it's not overly common, you don't think?
No.
Okay. They would have to have a reason. They don't just do it.
21 Jump Street, that shit's not real.
They don't just do it to do it. They would have to have a big reason, right?
Yeah. If there was like, I would imagine.
Like a drug ring.
Yeah,
like
a big drug ring going on. They wouldn't send in like an undercover fucking cop that is really 26 years old but looks like they're 18.
Maybe an underage sex ring. No, I'm sorry.
What?
No, I'm joking. At a school, I was thinking of reasons there would be cops, and I was like, "That's a really over the top one."
Nah, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they would definitely have drastic measures. They would have to get I don't know if they'd have like 10 narcs in there. I don't know how that would work,
for
but
a sex ring, I guess.
if they were talking at school. All right, moving on. We don't want to unpack that one. Thank God I'm not auditioning for SNL tomorrow.
Yeah, you'd lose the fucking job before you even got it.
Yeah.
With this episode, Jesus.
I know. What has gotten into me? You need to talk more.
You said the word retard and then sex trafficking.
Whoa,
I don't even
know if I said that
You're
word.
You're canceled.
I don't even know if I said that. But
you're canceled.
I have.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So that actually made me think of something, though. Which, have you heard? So you knew kids, you said that you came to school drunk, essentially.
Yeah.
Which
I knew kids that would eat mushrooms in school.
Right. And that's crazy. See, I know kids that said they used to take not just like a little bit of acid, like a lot of bit of acid and go to school.
Yeah.
How in the hell do the teachers not notice?
I think they do. I think it's just like, I don't care. I really think they just don't give a shit. As long as
How is it not a thing that like you hear about kids getting sent to the nurse's office because a teacher realizes they're on drugs?
I think it's as long as you're not being disruptive. It's fucking public school, man. They don't give a shit.
Well, they care about a lot of stuff. Like you can't just get away with whatever you want. Your school's pretty damn strict, dude.
Yeah, but if you're sitting there tripping on acid and you start freaking out having a bad trip, then they're gonna send you to the fucking office. But if you're just sitting there kind of enjoying like the cover of your textbook, they're
dude, if I was a 9th grade teacher and I thought it was odd for 9th graders to do drugs, which I would, and I do, if I was a teacher, and I would be a pretty laxed teacher, man. If I even looked at a kid whose pupils were popping the way you pop when you're either on coke or tripping or something.
Mushrooms.
Yeah,
mushrooms, when your
acid.
Pupils are bigger than your fucking iris.
And I could just see it in their face and their eyes, not even from it doesn't take much experience to see when somebody is clearly on stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I would at least either I would ask a principal or the kid, if I felt like an emotional connection with the kid, I might pull them aside and be like, what's the deal? Like, what's going on? Like, because maybe they have prescription Adderall.
Yeah.
But I would get to the bottom of it. I would not let that go on. When I hear stories, I always ask them, did you ever get caught? Teachers didn't notice? No one ever asked you, like, what is wrong with you? Are you in drugs? No. They like, don't touch it. They're like, teachers not allowed to ask?
Well, I think there might be a lot of paperwork involved.
Really?
And it might just not be worth it. And as like I said, as long as the kid's not like the one guy that I saw who was like fucking, actually I saw a few people like that, just not even able to walk, not even able to speak. Then that's a problem. If you got a kid in the back of the art class whose pupils are as fucking big as dimes and is just having fun drawing, just let them go.
I don't know, man. They're a kid. You don't know you know something's up. I hear what you're saying, but you would let a lot more things go than what teachers got on our ass for. I would just think of it like this. I know I've at least heard double-digit people tell me that they went to school extremely messed up and most of them extremely tripping, right? And most people who have stories of doing acid younger, most of them have a story of going to school on acid, and most of them describe the story as being a lot of acid.
Yeah.
Now, if you just asked me, gun to my head, and said, Mike, what do you think your odds of being able to go to school on a large amount of acid and making it through the day without getting caught or without being suspected of being on acid? I would say 50%. I would say I wouldn't be able to pick one or the other, but I would say 50% somebody's going to say something to me or ask me what's wrong with me, who's a teacher. But I was a very outwardly social presence in a classroom.
So anything that, especially for you,
all eyes on me. You know what I mean?
Anything that would have like altered how you were and altered your personality would have been a red flag right away.
I think so. Yes. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I already had a wild enough personality where no one would notice, but I think it would be very obvious.
See, my personality was too up and down. I was very extroverted and then also very introverted. So nobody would have like fucking noticed.
Yeah, you didn't like just express your opinions as randomly or as outwardly to enough where like people be like, what are you fucking talking about? Because I would take issue with something or I would say something or make a comment and it wouldn't be from my usual obvious perspective. It would be from a whole different perspective.
Yeah, from an alternate universe.
Yeah, I would get the confidence to express something that would be a tell, I think. I wouldn't be able to help myself. It's not my situation. I'm shocked when people say they can do it. How the hell can you even find your next class? And then when you can't find your next class, then they're going to ask you, where have you been? And you're trying to talk and you're nervous. And they're like, what is wrong with you? Let me look at your eyes.
That's how I would have been. Even just being like a little stoned, I'd be walking through the hallway.
Yeah.
Like, my eyes closed, bloodshot, like a teacher being like, where are you going? And then me just going, what?
Yeah. I would have to remind myself to just act very tired or say I was kind of sick or not feeling good. Because if I didn't have a game plan coming in, there'd be a tell. And yeah, just being a little stoned. You just enough to get a little bit like, as a kid, you know, I'm sure a little stoned is pretty damn stoned. Like if you're not a regular smoker or something, or you overdo it and the pressure's on and you're nervous and I would be nervous about being stoned in school.
Dude, my parents usually went to sleep very early.
Yeah.
And I was in probably 10th grade, maybe 11th. I think it was 10th. And we had an indoor lacrosse game on a Sunday. So I'm like, oh, fuck, done. Games at 9 or games at 8, not going to get home till 10:30, golden.
Yeah.
My buddy was like, hey, you want to smoke some weed? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. ripped a bubbler about 20 minutes away from home. We pull down the driveway. I look into the kitchen lights on. My mom's in there fucking washing dishes. And I'm like, oh, fuck. It was because that's where you're starting to experiment with stuff and you're starting to, like, you're figuring out how your body's reacting, how you're reacting to this kind of shit.
Yes.
And I am just high as fuck. And my buddy pulls up to the front door, drops me off. I'm like, oh shit, I guess I got to do this. And I walk in, and my mom was like, oh, how'd the game go? That kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, it was good. I'm just really tired. I just want to go to bed. So I just like threw my shit down, walked up, turned the lights off. Like my heart, I felt like I was going to have a fucking heart attack. Because that was the first time I'd had to deal with anything like that, dude. It was not cool. And then like 20 minutes later, my mom comes into my room. She's like, is everything okay?
She knew something was up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm just really tired. It was a long day. I just want to go to bed.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, I am just having a heart attack trying to interact with my parents, people that I see on a daily basis, let alone like a principal or some shit.
Yeah. Diesel's very sad today.
I think Megan might be home.
Oh.
We're good.
Cool. Yeah, no, dude, I don't know. That's interesting for me.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine.
You've come into it later in life to where you don't have to experience those things.
But the first thing I thought of, especially in the beginning stages, like I don't think it now because I have different sensitivities, but and my body just reacts differently and mine reacts differently. But I remember it being so extreme. I was like, how are people trying to argue that you should be able to drive on this shit?
Yeah.
Like I can't even follow my own sentence or what somebody else is saying. Like I didn't have a very positive relationship with weed when I first started it. Like as far as like the first few times I did it, I almost was like, I'm never going to do this. I mean, it was fun. And like the first time you hear music on it, the first time this, but like, I just didn't really see how you could want to do that much outside of just experiencing it for the first time or second time or like, you know what I mean? It just seemed like an occasional, maybe at a concert, but it's just too extraordinary. So I can remember, I could only imagine what the hell that would be like in school.
No. Class
would last forever.
Yeah, dude. Just look at it now. How, say after we finish recording this, you go home, you rip a bong hit, you lay in bed. You're just laying there. You're just relaxing, and you think you've been laying there for an hour, but it's been 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know. My view on weed at first was kind of like, once you've done everything you're supposed to do for the day, if you want to do it, do it. Yeah. Once you have nothing else you need to do. Mm-hmm. And then that way, even if you do nothing, you weren't going to do anything anyway. You were just going to eat dinner and you were just going to go to sleep. That worked out for me occasionally. You know, it was like a fun thing in that manner. But that's all I could see it with that perspective. I couldn't have even understood how somebody would go on a run or something like that, you know, on it. But now I get it, how a lot of athletes you know, talk about it or do that kind of stuff. I guess it doesn't matter too much, but the thought of going to school would literally be like this.
Dude,
I wouldn't know what day it was. I wouldn't know if it was an A day or B day. I wouldn't know the schedule. See, that was a lot for me. I never kept that shit in a binder. I would just have to come to school
and figure it out.
Yeah. And there's no one to tell you. Like, you'd know if it's B2 day or whatever. We had 3 different day orders, and there was an A day and a B day. So you essentially had a 6-day rotation, right?
Yeah.
That's how our school worked? Or was it an 8-day rotation?
No, it was 8-day rotation.
We had an 8-day rotation. The second a class is over, I'm late for the next class. I'm panicked. I don't know where to go. I don't know which is the next class. I'm thinking in my head a lot. And if I make it to that class, dude, it was like, it would have been the craziest journey just going from one class to the next. And you're seeing people and people are saying, hey, and it's a sea of people and you're fiddling at your locker. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No way.
Fuck no.
So I don't know how kids do it. And then like the thought of the kids who say they were on like 10 tabs of acid, like what? How were you not at the nurse's office in 30 fucking minutes?
I think anybody who ever says that is a fucking liar.
They're exaggerating.
Yeah.
But kids would be stupid enough to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the kids who are willing to take acid in school might be willing to take 10.
I'd say anyone that says they were ever on 10 tabs of acid at school might have done acid, but it was like
I get what you're saying. I forget how much some people embellish stuff like that. I have enough experiences that are that crazy that I try not to make them up. As a kid, I made up stuff because I didn't have much to draw from. Like, you know, you just kind of, you exaggerate things that are very big, like holes in your game.
Yeah, yeah.
But I definitely feel like that totally takes away. So, but yeah, a lot of people do embellish, and like when they're telling stories and they're one up, like, dude, I took 12 I did this.
Yeah.
I was tripping for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And me over here, I'm just thinking like 2 weeks. What? Meanwhile, they did it one day and they're like, I'm just going to exaggerate me a little.
Yeah.
And they overthrow it. And I'm the only one who actually processes that this person just said they tripped for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And then I'm imagining it. And meanwhile, it's just some fucking lie. Next time that happens, I'm going to smack them. Say, Steve told me you're full of shit.
Yeah, you're full of shit.
He said, anytime.
I will stand by this fucking statement. Fucking get the timestamp. Anytime anybody has ever said that they took 10 hits of acid before fucking high school, you're full of shit.
Thank you, Mike. I agree.
Why are you thanking Mike?
That sounded like something you sounded like you were doing an impersonation of me when I was making a bold claim.
Man, I was just being me making a statement.
No, you might be right. I don't know what to think of that.
I do. And also you have to think about the high school mind.
Yeah. They might even forget that they didn't do it.
Yeah.
They might have said 10 so many times. It went from half to 2 to 5 to 10.
It started off as a tab, and then every time they told the story, it went up a half.
Do you think that there are things in your life that you have lied about enough times? How many do you think it's like hundreds, thousands? It's probably happened a couple times where you have a false memory because of a lie that you told.
No, I mean, it'd be ridiculous to say that it never happened, because it definitely has. I try and be pretty accurate with stuff. Because I just, for me, like, what's the gain in lying?
Okay, so like, let's say you were a kid and you lied about going on a date with somebody or hooking up with somebody, like, you know, to sound cool, or you told a story, or you something embarrassing happened and you told it with like a spin, like you got in a fight and you lost, but you like told it with a spin with a little bit of a lie, but you told it enough times where you forget that it was a lie, and then maybe you remember like, oh wait, that's not actually how it went, but you tell it to somebody else because it's a way you've told that story. Like, has that happened to you enough times where you realize how much, like, you can believe your own lies over time? Because people say that they believe their own lies. It's hard for me to understand when somebody says that somebody believes their own lies, because I'm not aware of where it's happened to me. There's maybe been once or twice where I have the moment I was just talking about, like, oh yeah, but I remember, like, oh, I'm lying right now. That's not exactly how it went. That's just how I told the story, or this didn't really happen that way. I just say it.
What you're saying is you're aware of it, but you don't believe it. So you'll keep telling the story.
Well, it's more in reflection, or maybe as I'm telling it, but I don't like correct. Yeah. Like
I'd say that happens more often than like me knowing that I'm outright lying about something and then just continuing with that story and letting it grow.
Like, let's say you break up and it's for a reason that, see, this isn't similar to me. Like, this is not an instance that has happened, like, at least that I know of, but if it is, it's over a minor detail. But like, you break up, you tell everybody that X happened when really Y happened. And over time, you keep telling X, you avoid that part of your life. You don't look back on it. It's traumatic. And then over time, X becomes Y. Because you forget what the truth was. Now, maybe gun to your head, if you have to think about it, you know, maybe you could pull back the real memories. Or maybe you're so jaded by your lies, because there's levels to that shit, right? Like people who are pathological liars might have trouble keeping track of the truth.
Yeah.
They are more so keeping track of their lies.
Of the lies and not the truth.
And they're not trying to reflect on how much they lie. See, if I lie, I reflect on it. It like sits in me. I know I lied. I feel bad about lying. I don't want to do that. So, especially if I don't justify, it's definitely not, I don't like being deceitful really, you know, too much.
Yeah,
with that. It weighs on me.
I genuinely try to be pretty truthful. And if I do tell a story that gets embellished and someone calls me out on it, then I'll be like, if you have a better recollection of it, then that's what happened.
Yeah. So like, what do you think of the statement when somebody says that they believe their own lies? Because I never jump to that conclusion when I'm looking at somebody.
What do I think when someone says they believe their own lies?
You know, like we work with Hunter. We work with Hunter.
Yeah.
Sometimes he will say a lie enough times and then somebody will cut him slack and they're like, oh, well, you know, he just believes his own lies. And I'm like, no, he knows what the fuck is true.
Nah, see, I'm on the same thought process as you. If you're saying something that's untruthful, you fucking know what it is.
If you were called out on it, it would trigger something that you knew you were lying.
Yeah.
You might not think about it or you might not analyze it until somebody calls you out on it. Like you're not keeping yourself in check. But I do think that people who are lying, even over years and years of lying, if they're lying about something that's pretty big or distinct and you call them out on it, they don't believe their lie. They know. That I think that.
No, they know.
But
it's
so you don't think you're susceptible to that too much. See, I don't think I'm really, it's something that I consider some.
Because I just don't, I have nothing to gain from, the way that I see it is I have nothing to gain from embellishing a story. Like the fucking story I told you about me getting sucker punched at.
Yeah, okay, I know, but it's not about that. And you're not at an age when you would do it. I'm just saying, do you think there was something you lied about previously that you believed eventually? I know you're not somebody just spitting lies all the time.
No. There's nothing ever that
there are even reasons to lie sometimes.
No. There's never been a lie that I've just tricked myself into believing. If any lie I've ever told, I knew that it wasn't the truth.
Right.
And I will never, I don't let myself forget that.
Yeah,
I hold on to it, and I know what has been told as the truth and what has been told.
Yeah,
as
no matter how much you say you're sick, you remember that you weren't fucking sick, man. You know forever you remember that you weren't actually sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is how I look at it. But I guess with trauma and stuff, people are able to do weird things to kind of.
Well, it's I mean, you're talking about trauma now. That's a whole different.
Well, I know, but what makes? I don't know. You're right.
The mind's a powerful and crazy fucking thing. You know that of all people, that how capable your mind is.
If it was me and I had to think of things that I would lose a memory of, it would be things that I have had to talk about that I don't really think about. Which would be traumatic things.
Yeah.
Which are things that I don't think about because I don't think about my trauma that much. I don't think about it when I'm up at night. I don't think about the word. I don't really reflect in that way. I think about things I'm in the middle of or that's currently happening in my life more so. So when, I would say that's why I think of trauma, because I think of, it's not times that you're covering your ass really as much. It's more times that are traumatic that you might lose touch with what actually happened because you're not reflecting on it, but you having to talk about it or you're having to make observations and you're lying along the way to kind of make it easier to talk about or things you don't want to, you're keeping things.
You're softening the blow.
Yeah, you're exactly. So that's all. That was something I thought about that got brought up.
We just talked
But no,
about
I thought about something like that during the week. Yeah, I'm good for like another 15 or so if you want to.
Do you have another 15?
You want to do another 15 minutes? Or
I mean, we can if you got something to talk about.
I guess we don't have to. I could pee and then head out.
That's up to you. I mean,
I will tell you this.
tell me.
And it's good to update on this. I really, dude, I swear, and it's good to put it out there. I do think that the whole running thing of this, where you were saying how you think kind of like singing is a natural ability that is kind of hard to harness and learn. I think there are times that I get a little taste of something, or I realize I connect certain dots that really convince me that as long as I keep practicing and keep thinking about it and keep trying, I'm going to get quote unquote
That's good. That's good.
Here's an explanation that you might understand. I watch a lot of videos on singing, right? And I watch a lot of just things to think about, like placing your voice, different drills, opening up resonance, things that cause bad singing. And all these teachers say these same things. Of course, they want to be positive and motivating, so they act like they can fix stuff out. But some things definitely make sense, and I can relate to, and I can feel. And you'll be watching this video, and it'll have thousands of likes and only like 10 dislikes. And all the comments are like, I've been doing this for 2 months. I've been doing this for 1 month. I did this for the last week, or this really helped me figure a lot out. And I'll see these videos for like suggestions, and it'll be one thing to do. And it'll just say like, you know, like one drill for men is, and it's one that kind of resonated with me recently, that I realized I wasn't doing E, I was doing like an E into a different vowel. Like, I don't know if my E's were becoming A's or A's, and I never really was pronouncing E's, especially up in the scale, and as I would change notes. So just my vowel sounds and vowel consistencies, and I do have kind of a twang to the way I talk. So
You got that little East Coast, like Southern,
exactly,
little Southern East Coast drawl to it.
These are things that I have not harnessed in when I'm singing. So, and as I get better at being in pitch, as I get better at breathing through my diaphragm, I notice certain things improve, but there's still a part of you that knows that if you just go in that direction, it's not going to become very good. Because something is, you know, you haven't unlocked something that sounds distinctly what we would consider good and clean.
The thing to take away from it is the whole is the positivity. So if you think and you feel that you're improving,
yes,
then that's all that matters. I mean, who cares what? Legitimately, who cares if I think you're getting better, or if any of your any like people you play with or your friends or think you are getting better? Like the confidence that comes along with you thinking that you're getting better. Confidence is fucking key, man.
I will tell you this. I have taken on a lot of things in my life. I swear, I study and practice and am trying to learn singing about as much as I have put into almost anything I've learned for the long run, for about probably 6 to 8 months, as far as like being very singing focused. You know, I'd been learning guitar and singing for a while, but I didn't really get into learning it and constantly practicing it, watching videos. It's probably been 6 months, but 8 months ago, I started getting into that and doing some drills.
Yeah.
And in that time, I've really put a lot into it. I know that things that are difficult take longer than 6 months to get good at. And now that I'm starting to get to the point as I enter 2 years of guitar, I'm starting to get compliments from people that sound more technical. Like, oh, well, your guitar playing sounds good, but it's just the song, you know, or things that people acknowledge that they didn't used to acknowledge.
Yeah.
So I know that's getting good, but it's taken a while, and I do practice it a lot. But as somebody who has learned things previously, I don't think I'm hitting dead ends, and I'm very in tune with the improvements. I think I'm going to have a few aha moments that take a month or two to really harness, but I'm going to start discovering things that I'm going to develop, because anything you figure out, you still have to develop well. Yeah. But I'm going to get things started that I haven't even figured out yet with my voice. And I think that's really going to make some changes.
Well, I think
that's been in my head lately with it.
And I think we've already come to the realization that you're never going to be a great singer. You're just only going to get better.
You know, I say that and I know that's realistic, but I honestly think that if I keep going in the direction that I am, let's put it this way.
Dude, you're never.
No, but listen to me. Listen.
Yeah,
no,
all right.
not great. Not iconic in a great way, right? But I watch these singing coaches and they understand singing and they present it and they sing in a way that is good enough where they can present it and they can do a cover of a song and it sounds good and you like them enough to trust them. I will figure it out enough if I keep doing what I'm doing to where I could do what they do after maybe 8 years.
Well, and 8 years.
Well, what? I mean, how long does it take to be a singing coach? No one
mean,
takes on singing in 2 years and becomes a coach, right?
That's a long. Wait, you're going to be a singing coach in 8 years?
No, I'm saying I guarantee you within 8 years, I know I could be good enough. I would hope, if I had to hope, within 3 years, I would hope to be about as good as some of the singing coaches that I see on YouTube who are smart, give good advice. Their songs sound good and they're good singing coaches, but they don't have it in a way that they put out solo music that people are insanely captivated. But I think I'm going to sing well enough to where if I continue the way I am, that there's no reason I couldn't sing it well enough to demonstrate and to be a singing coach in the way that they are. But I could be wrong.
I think singing coach is a lofty goal. I think for now
it's not a goal just to sing the way they sing in some of their demonstrations. I watch a lot of them. I listen to it. It doesn't always sound distinctly amazing, but it's not bad.
Well, it's staying in key and matching pitch.
Yes, and eventually you're going to lose some of the things that make you awful, and it's just going to be a more normal, very close enough pitch, you know, everything's good enough, and it's just a normal singing voice. It sounds fine.
It's good, the good enough hole.
I think it's possible. We will see. I like laying it out there. I like laying my thoughts out there. I'm confident about that one, and it's nice to give a running update on this kind of thing because I've talked about it enough, and
Yeah. No,
it does tie in.
And especially for how you are, you like to be accountable. You like to have that accountability placed on yourself. Like you set these goals and these deadlines. 8 years is
Yes.
a long time, but you're giving yourself something to work forward to, and that's how.
But I have that perspective.
Yeah.
I walked into a jiu-jitsu gym knowing that if I honestly thought it would take me 15 to 20 years to get a black belt. And I walked into a gym, and if you asked me if I thought I would become a black belt, I'd be like, yeah, there's a good shot. But I thought that's how, but it was nothing. It was like, it was something I really wanted to do. I've always been into my hobbies. There's a chance I'll stop jiu-jitsu, but even if it was twice as long as it is, I would still imagine at this point, I will see this through enough.
Yeah.
Just like once I got training and once I saw myself being able to be a trainer and I liked the idea, I did it. And it was a very easy obtainable goal. And off the bat, I was able to do it at a good enough level to do it. You know, as I get more experienced, I still look back on the original stuff I did and think there was nothing wrong with the way I was training people, even as a beginner. So the singing coach thing, I don't know enough about it. It doesn't come as naturally. And I think you really need to take some time to get good if you don't sound good. I don't think anyone just has an overnight miracle. I do think there are aha moments that within 2 to 3 months, you can take it in a level where you fix a giant part of your problem. Keep in mind, I've never been professionally assessed. It's all through self-reflection. That sounds silly, but it's true.
We should take up a collection to send you to a fucking vocal coach.
But don't you think that that's a huge difference? Like if I don't know, like in striking, I got so much better so quick the second I had someone tell me the obvious things I was doing wrong. Mm-hmm. And like with direction, I take direction far. If I understand it and it makes sense, I can take it very far.
So are you saying that if you had a coach in person?
That would definitely help, but I'm going to figure stuff out either way. And eventually that'll happen. It's going to happen. And I do get advice sometimes, you know, I just don't want to overwhelm my friends who give me free advice. And, my buddy, Peter Muth, who sang that song,
that
the Bohemian Rhapsody,
great voice.
I should just play that to hear.
Here, I've already got this. Just plug this in.
Let me just play it on my cell phone. He won't care.
Just plug it in. It's already in record. You just got to plug it in.
Be careful. We might have audio stuff. I hear it's hot. Yeah, that's going to make a loud noise.
That's all right. I'll just cut it out.
Okay. 1 sec. It's not in yet. Okay. So
Just do a couple seconds of it. Don't play the whole
I'm
clip.
not gonna, but it's just going to take me a sec to pull up. This is my buddy Peter Muth. Petemmuth. He's good, dude.
No, his voice, the clips you were showing me the other day, his voice is fucking crazy.
Well, here's a way to think of it. I've never done this with anybody, any of my favorite singers, and I've been practicing singing along to his cover of this song so much and just trying to figure out things I do wrong singing through using the filter of trying to think about through imitation, try and figure out things of singing.
Yeah.
Not in a totally way of just trying to imitate him, but I try and think about what I do wrong while I hear the dissonance and the differences between my voice and his. So I love it, but I'll explain.
Give him like an Instagram shout out or something.
Well, it's not on Instagram. Can you hear it?
Why is it playing through your phone?
This thing doesn't go in all the way. Let me just play. Yeah, I'll just do it this.
Pulled my trigger, now he's dead.
You hear this on your headphones, right?
Mama, life had just begun. Now I've gone and thrown it all.
Cool. Well, you hear his voice. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's just like a 56-second or 50-something second Instagram clip of him playing guitar and singing over top it. And he has a bunch of cool videos. He does like the looping stuff. He's a very skilled guitarist. Usually just plays with like a lot of feeling and like just a good touch. And he has a softness about him. And honestly, I would check it out. He has these videos, dude. You watched them.
Nah, it's good.
The basketball ones too? Oh my God. It's trick shots, failed trick shots. So like the one time it was all half court shots. And the things he does that lead to the shots.
It's also
it's good.
Yeah. It's very not often.
It's skilled parody, dude. It's abstract art. Remember I was talking about there's an appreciation for a skilled artist doing things that are not skilled.
Yeah.
And this is that. It's a comedic take on somebody who can fucking ball.
Yeah.
He could easily film a montage of all of those shots going in.
Hell yeah.
He could have practiced them enough time. He could have done it enough times. A lot of them come close.
But the thought of him going, hey, how funny would it be if I didn't make these shots?
So it's the swagger of a trick shot montage that works.
That's the kind of shit that I wish I could. And I've come up with
it's so
some
brilliant.
stuff, but that is like, it's so simple and so good.
That's him, dude. He's a one-liner comic, and it's like simple and good. It's not like simple in a way that's simple. It's brilliant.
That's like,
but no need to expand. It's good. That's a joke.
A lot of these fucking, we've talked about this before. A lot of these fucking podcast pages, they put up their dumb fucking sketches, and there's just too much thought put into it, and the shit's not funny. It's not. It doesn't come off as natural. The acting is horrible,
right?
Which in turn makes the comedy even fucking worse.
Yeah, and I always appreciate somebody who is short and sweet and all that in the way that this guy is in a way. So it's like I notice things like even in the way that he's willing to play and sing so gently, and you have to be willing to be a certain nature to even find these places that he's found. I know that sounds silly, but that is the thing about art is you have to be willing to take it in the directions that you wind up. Yeah. And you got to like hit that pedal. But regardless of that, like in comedy, he was somebody where like his sense of humor resonated with me, but it was so far from me being able to be that person. Because he has just a chill, relaxed, easy way, comfortable way, a swagger that is like smart, good, funny. And I'm not saying he never bombs or something, but it's always funny to me. And he never needs to talk in circles like me. Yeah. So I respect something that I don't really possess when I see people like that. And his video is a good example. I wouldn't be able to do it as tastefully.
I mean,
it would be over the top if I did it.
We've done a lot of ass kissing, but his singing and stuff just comes out very effortless.
Yes.
He just sits back and does his shit, and his voice is incredible.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've been doing enough ass kissing for
the
past 5 minutes. But I mean, the guy deserves it. It's fucking good.
Oh, when you can sing amazing, you play guitar well, you're a good comic, you can ball. And also, dude, like, he's lost a lot of weight since some of those videos, but he's a large dude to be like doing what he's doing with the basketball. He's like doing some shit between the legs, and he's not just a big dude, like, he's tall. So he's like a center or like a power forward that is bigger, because he's already probably, if I had to guess, he's lost like 50, 60 pounds.
Let's get him on.
Oh, he's in New York.
Oh.
If once we have like phone type stuff, I would love to have a conversation with him. It would definitely tie in well with things that I'm interested in. And then he's good on the music. Yeah, that'd be a fun conversation.
No, it could fit in pretty well with both of us.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'll throw out there. It's so hard to schedule guests right now, considering that we have like a last minute recording type schedule, and it's Friday midday.
Yeah.
So that's just something that we'll figure out over time.
We could always kick it to a weekend.
Once it's more popular, someone might want to go out of their way to be on it.
That's the
so
thing.
If we give them a hard time, they either can make it work or they can't, and we'll find somebody who will make it work. And once we're better about a schedule, that'll fall in place.
So that being said, like and fucking subscribe.
Yeah, I don't know how to write reviews or whatever you do, but if you like the show and it's easy for you to figure out because you already do the whole podcast thing, you might be able to just click something, give it an honest whatever. But, you know,
we have 3 5-star reviews on iTunes.
None of them are me. I have not even. I try. Oh, yeah, cool. Well, it's okay if one of them's you.
One of them's me.
I didn't do it. I would have. Google Podcasts, I can't figure out, and that's the only one I use.
Yeah.
Google Podcasts, I don't think I can review, or it knows I'm a creator of it and doesn't let me.
That's probably what it is.
But I don't even see reviews for it. I'm just frustrated that I changed the website, so now the URL is Dizzy Street Talk, which might mess up old links, but the thumbnail picture doesn't change everywhere. No. And I don't see that in the site layout. The way it's explained is that it'll update on our site, and it takes time for it to integrate depending on the way their whole, I don't know if the cache or whatever.
Well, I Googled it today on my computer, not my cell phone, and found just like a random podcast site that I've never even heard of. And when I clicked on Dizzy Street Talk,
it was figuring it out. Dude, we're on there's probably like 30 different ones that it auto feeds you on. I think I found a site to just
RSS shit works. Is it just links to all those accounts?
Now, I submitted it to some because I found a site that had just a list of links you could submit your RSS. So we are on a bunch of sites, but I also imagine that there are sites that just get created and just find and plug the RSSs into their own site. Like they probably program to take all the RSSs that you can publicly find, which are out there in directories. So, cool. Is there anything else to look forward to till people hear from us again? Do you have anything going on in the next week?
Nah, because I don't do comedy.
I just have that competition, and that I do. Oh, I have a comedy show coming up November 1st, and Rob Mayer's headlining.
Nuh-uh.
Swear to God.
Fuck. I'm going to be out of town.
Yeah. So he's headlining.
What
Crescent
day?
Yacht Club. So Friday.
Shit.
So not next Friday, but the Friday after he's headlining.
Damn, that sucks. I'd like to go to that, and you can talk to him.
Yeah, so that'll be. I'm sure we'll have a recap of that.
Are you hosting it? Are you putting the show on? I mean,
yes. I might even do a little bit of material. I might talk about Hot Pockets. We'll see. I have some good Hot Pocket material. You're a host. You got to do some normal shit.
Yeah.
What am I going to talk about? Hot Pockets.
I don't know, Mike.
I know
you got
food.
a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that as a host.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I did send Joe Robinson a message the other day. So that's the singing recurring theme, not only because I'm into it, because our first episode revolved a bit around
was 90 minutes of...
Yeah, outlandish.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Outlandish claims.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm a good candidate to be that way.
To be
it's good
outlandish.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
No one else is throwing down fucking tickets like that. It's me. I'll reap whatever comes. I'll reap what I sow. It's okay. Let me be that way.
You're good. You're good.
I know. But shit. I sent Joe. Well, I was listening to a Joe Rogan with Greg Fitzsimmons. Mm-hmm. Do you know the comic Greg Fitzsimmons?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Because when I hear Joe, he reminds me of a comic that I know of. And it reminded me, he kind of reminds me of some of those Boston comics who are a little like intellectual, a little more white collar. And, but they have that rugged East Coast personality too. Like they're not sissies. They're of a hard way too. And Greg Fitzsimmons reminds me of Joe Robinson reminds me of Greg Fitzsimmons.
I can see that. That's a good comparison.
So I sent him a text asking him if he knew Greg. I told him that. And then he told me he really likes Jordan Peterson. Do you know him? He's like, it doesn't even
I'm
matter.
not familiar. No.
He's like
I've heard him talk about it because I listen
like
to
most polarizing people. I'm pretty neutral on him. Like I really like.
Is he political?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like the social kind of guy. He seems sexist and probably seems racist as people too. I don't know what people. He's none of that to me, but he's just a lot. Some of his ideas I really, really, really like. But
he's not a comedian, or he is?
No, he's not.
No, he's just a public speaker.
Yeah, so if anything, that's why Greg Fitzsimmons is similar. Like he has a similar East Coast keep it real, where you don't think they're of any sort of bad nature. Like I don't think Jordan Peterson or Greg Fitzsimmons or Joe are overtly any sort of sexist, racist, that kind of stuff.
No.
But you could get out of their mindset. But
you could misinterpret what they say for.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He just told me that about Jordan Peterson. So I talked to Joe, and his co-host Rob Mayer is headlining the show, and it's the guy so that's how it's all linked.
I wish I was going to be in town so I could be there, and we could like introduce ourselves. Or you already know Rob.
Just cancel vacation.
I can't, dude. It's a wedding in California.
It might not happen. Who is it?
It's Megan's friend from high school. It's a lesbian wedding.
Huh.
Never been to one of those.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So we will have something to talk about.
I guess.
But that's not for a while. That's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Cool.
November. All right. That's it.
All right. That's it. Bye.
Later.